everybody, welcome back for another CineFix Roundtable, and today we're talking zombies. And it's extra special because we've got someone from The Walking Dead, Ross Marquand, right here. Easily the #1 zombie show on AMC.
Easily. There's that other one, isn't there?
Yes, there is. Fear the Walking Dead.
And of course, we've got Ben from Homemade Movies and Derek from Mashable. So yeah, let's talk zombies. So Ben, you were nice enough to give us something to put on our glorious roundtable here.
I was so excited to do this.
We've got usually a nude roundtable, but
yes.
not today.
Ooh. These are my zombie movies. They range from just all over the place. I'm a huge zombie nut, and so I thought I'd bring them in because there's some obscure ones that some people maybe haven't heard of.
Yeah, I mean there are some crazy ones in here.
Yeah. Pretty
now,
awesome.
with you being on The Walking Dead, he of course plays Aaron, or Aaron, as I like to pronounce it. He,
now you done messed up.
You killed a lot of zombies now, and would you say that you were into the zombie genre before being on The Walking Dead?
I would say that.
All right, very good.
So,
do you say that?
I do say that.
Oh,
I say
he says it all the
literally
time.
say it all the time. I'm just saying, it's like, I just gotta say it.
I gotta tell someone again.
Every day he wakes up.
Well, but yeah, I mean, just digging into your stash here, I mean, we're going to talk more generally about, you know, some of the things that aren't on this table, but I took a particular liking to the pull quote on Shockwaves, the best of the Nazi zombie movies.
Yes.
I mean,
there was Dead Snow that came out a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
But Nazi zombies are an actual subgenre of zombies. I have two of them here. The other one is Zombie Lake, right here, which is very, very creepy zombies coming out of a lake, hence the title.
I like it because you know exactly what you're getting.
I would imagine like very satisfying as well. Like, who
Yeah.
doesn't want to kill a zombie?
Ooh, those
who
Nazi
doesn't want to kill a
zombies.
Nazi zombie?
Yeah.
Right,
You
know what I mean?
exactly.
Like,
It's the ultimate in wish fulfillment.
So yeah, I've got, of course, can't talk about zombies without talking about the Romero Dead films.
Yes.
Of course.
So we've got all of those, of course, Night of the Living Dead, the first sort of cannibal, flesh-eating zombie.
Yeah.
But there's some interesting kind of spin-offs in history with these Dead films in that Russo, who wrote Night of the Living Dead with Romero, they sort of had a disagreement on how to continue the series because they kind of like accidentally created the zombie genre. So they had different ideas on where to go with it. So George Romero was allowed to make his Dead films. Those were the Dead films, hence Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Land of the Dead, stuff like that. But Russo went off to do the Living Dead series. So this is Return of the Living Dead, which is close with Zombie right here for my favorite zombie film. This one came out in the 80s. Awesome movie.
Is that the one where the Cramps
That
do the soundtrack?
It is.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's the one. It's like super punk rock zombies and stuff.
wow.
Yeah. Okay,
I love
great.
Is
that
punk
already.
rock
Yeah.
zombies a subgenre of genre?
It just kind of weaves its
It is now.
It is now.
It should
In
be
this
if
moment.
it isn't. This one wins for best packaging.
Oh, totally, absolutely. That's the Blind Dead collection, Tombs of the Blind Dead. What are the other? Return of the Evil Dead, which has nothing to do with the Sam Raimi movies. The Ghost Galleon and Night of the Seagulls, which is a strange title for a zombie movie, but
Well, I gotta say, as far as titles go, The Serpent and the Rainbow.
totally.
That is great.
Bill Pullman,
Yeah.
right here.
Yep.
I also am a big fan of Redneck Zombies. Haven't seen it, but I know I love
You
it
can
already.
borrow it.
Yeah, I might have to do that. But Ross, let me ask you, what is your favorite zombie movie? Whether it's like one of these subgenres or just a general zombie.
I know that you and Greg will probably be mad at this answer because like the zombie purists are like, no, it has to be.
You guys aren't gonna like my
We were
answer, I
just
already
talking
know.
about this. See if it's the same
Let's
movie.
hear it, let's hear it.
I'm sure it's probably the same, but 28 days later,
Yes,
for me,
up
like,
top, hit me
I
high.
mean, it's just
Yeah, I gotta do it too.
that. Yeah, I mean, it's just.
That's a great.
It's not
Love
your.
it.
It's not a pure zombie movie in the classic sense of
Right.
a zombie, but for me, there's something so terrifying about a virus that spreads that quickly. I mean, not only just the mutation, but also how fast it manifests in their body,
Yeah.
and then once they're taken over by it, I mean, they're off and running, and it spreads
That's
so
the thing.
quickly. It's like it's terrifying. It's mortifying to see this mutation spread so quickly all over England.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think the social implications of that are really it's fascinating,
And
I completely agree. I think the introduction of this idea of fast zombies is what kind of took
Yes.
it to a new level for me. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, I gotta run now? Because at
Yeah.
least like in the older movies, there's sort of that like slumping,
Yeah.
lumbering brains, that
Well,
kind of thing.
Right.
Actually, no. They Return of the Living Dead. They run. They're fast zombies. In
Oh,
nature.
okay.
Okay.
And they talk.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
And
I gotta watch that.
Greg's point, you know, and it's a valid point to some degree, but he's like, how could they run? Their bodies are, you know, their muscles have atrophied. I'm like, how could they move? Period. If they,
Good answer.
It's like,
Yeah.
come on.
Good answer.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they're you know, but I think they both have their value, and they both.
Well, I mean, that was the movie that, because with anything in pop culture, it comes and goes.
Yeah.
And it comes and goes in different reiterations for different reasons. And so Zombies is one that came back because of that movie.
Yes.
Like, I think that movie
Yes.
came out and everyone was like, oh wait, people like zombies now? Okay,
Right.
well, let's do
Yeah.
that. And then also the remake of Dawn of the Dead, the
Right.
Zack
With,
Snyder
Came
one.
out
Yeah,
a couple
That was
years
also
later, yeah.
the same, one of the movies that kind of reignited the zombie genre.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say though that as far as 28 Days Later goes, and Dawn of the Dead, the first 10 minutes of Dawn of the Dead is some
The
of the
remake.
The
Yes.
remake is one of the best sequences I've seen in a horror film, period, in a very long time.
Hands down.
28 Days Later, it was like the first zombie movie ever that was like an empty city, like empty,
Right.
scenescape. And that made a big impression on me. I mean, now you've seen that, that's sort of like a commonality in zombie movies, but like empty London was like
Yeah.
horrifying. You didn't need any zombies in the scene. Just Cillian Murphy walking around
Yeah.
London as
It was
it was empty
impressive.
was like insane.
I just wanted to point out, just bring up Danny Boyle. I mean, a lot of these zombie movies tend to be sort of like cult directors or horror-specific directors. And bringing in a director like Danny Boyle, who's, you know, an Academy Award-nominated director, he wasn't at the time, but ultimately, you get my point. So it was sort of like a way of almost legitimizing the
That's
genre.
what I was just
in
going
a
to
way.
say.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
what's funny about the horror genre is it does kind of have the nickname of the director genre, because a lot of directors start off in horror. You can make them super low budget. You don't need A-list actors. They make a return for the most part. I mean, the shirt I'm wearing right now, this movie is directed by Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
28 Days Later legitimized the zombie genre. The same
Exactly.
thing, the same way The Walking Dead is doing right now.
Right.
In that it's putting it into the popular culture, but with legitimacy.
I want to ask you guys this, though. So within this zombie genre, this is kind of philosophical. What makes a zombie a zombie? Because in 28 Days Later, it's sort of a viral thing. World War Z, which I think we wouldn't have without 28 Days Later. I ended up thinking that movie was pretty
Right.
good. Also, the fast zombies. Also, more of a sort of biological viral thing rather than living dead per se.
Right, well-
when is it not really a zombie movie anymore?
So it's interesting. That question is really, it's like a two-sided question, because one is like, what makes a zombie? You can get into the technical things about how the 28 Days Later zombies are just ragers or something. They're just like angry people.
Ravers?
Ravers? They're ravers.
They did have those
Yes.
glow sticks.
They are zombies.
They are,
The
yes.
deleted scenes was
Zombie
crazy.
raving.
But then it's also like, why is it that the zombie genre is coming back? Like, if you look at horror movies, that's why I love horror movies so much, is because there's sort of a direct pulse on the fear of the culture at the time. I mean, you can go through every single decade and look at what was popular in horror, and it reflects something that was happening. You have the cult, you know, the communist Red Scare in the 50s. You have alien invasion movies. You know what I mean? So what's interesting to think about now is, why is it that zombies are back in popular culture?
I think about all these movies in philosophical or social aspects, kind of what you're talking about. Like Blade Runner is a great commentary
Yeah.
on society at that time and where we're heading as a you know, nanotechnology and futurism and where we're going with all that. But I think the great thing about The Walking Dead is that, for me, it really is kind of saying this inevitable, you know, we're always like kind of like seeing our lives sapped out of us through popular, I mean, like just being in a society that like doesn't really push individualism or push like, you know, kind of like independent thought. To me, the zombies are kind of the background. It's actually just like letting that lifelessness, letting that joy of life kind of sap out of you, kind of fall out of you. And like, it's actually, I don't even look at it as a horror movie. It's more just like a commentary on society. And I don't know if Kirkman actually thinks this, but it's like,
Totally.
we are literally, you know, Rick says this in season 5. He's like, we are the Walking Dead. We just have to find the thing that makes us joyful and passionate about life. That's what separates us from the zombies, and that's what I think is the great thing about it. That's why I
Right.
think it's become a popular.
It's a drama. It's a human drama set in post-apocalyptic zombie
Totally.
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
Just one more thing. I know we were talking about how sort of the human element is often the more interesting aspect of all these zombie movies, but I think one of the worst things about zombies is this idea that your body is doing things that are no longer in control because you've passed away and now you're this puppet for all of these terrible acts. And I think that might be like the cool and sort of like weird thing. I don't really know who, like kind of came up with this concept first. I feel like we have elements of it even in like Frankenstein and stuff like that. But
Yeah, well, I mean, there's always that kind of base fear of the human body, which is like body horror, like Cronenberg and stuff kind of explores that a lot too.
Ooh, Cronenberg.
yeah, it's just like pure id.
Yeah,
Totally. Well, I mean, it's interesting because it's actually more, because these sort of modern zombies are not necessarily always aware that they're zombies. You do have some of that, like in Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, like self-aware zombies.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
I don't like this.
I'm so sorry. I'm
vegetarian.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing this.
Well, do vegetarian zombies only eat other vegetarians?
That's a great
Oh, yeah.
But what's interesting is that it's more, I think it's more the horror comes from the loved ones. Like your loved one is now back, but it's not them. Like that's
Right.
when someone passes away, that's what you want them to come back.
Right.
And so it's sort of playing on, it's sort of playing on that idea that like, well, here they are, you're getting them
Oh
back.
yeah, but they're gonna eat your face.
Yeah,
So
they're gonna
sorry.
eat your
man.
face.
I remember-
Awkward.
Oh, it's so funny. I don't know why. Oh, well, this actually isn't a well, I don't know. I'm talking myself out of it. But the first movie that really scared me when I was a kid was Pet Sematary, Stephen King book.
I
that
forgot
became
that
a movie.
one.
But
Forgot
like,
that one.
man, that movie back in the day, like I don't know
Yeah.
when that came out, the late '80s, early '90s or something. But I was like a kid. And seeing like those animals come back, like it's always the things you love most, right? It's like
Yeah.
children and animals.
Yep.
When they come back, are scary as hell. Like,
Yeah.
what is up with
Natasha
that?
Kinski was in that? Or no?
Was she? Who was the actress you just mentioned?
Natasha Kinski? And Nastasia Kinski?
Was she the actress? Was she in Paris, Texas?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Wim Wenders films?
Klaus Kinski's daughter.
Whoa! Whoa! That's great.
What is
She's
her
so
name?
beautiful. Not that Klaus Kinski is
Well, yeah, Klaus Kinski.
he's not a great-looking guy, but
Werner
Rude.
Herzog would be very
Rude.
upset with that comment.
oh no, Werner. I'm sorry, Werner.
I can't believe you ripped on my friend.
Werner, I'm so sorry, Werner. Werner,
The only thing
please.
I like more than Werner Herzog impressions are people doing Paul F. Tompkins doing Werner Herzog.
Oh, I've not heard Paul F. Tompkins.
Oh, it's so
Werner.
good. He does it
Oh.
on Comedy Bang Bang all the time.
I haven't seen the last season of The Walking Dead, but I knew you and know you from your impressions. I
Opposite.
was
I
aware
found
of the
out later.
Vanity Fair video like a year ago or whenever
yeah.
when it came out, and we were sending it around the office where I worked, and just like, this guy's so funny. So when I heard you were coming on, I freaked out a little bit just because they were so great.
Thank you.
I know you've heard that a lot, but I have some up my sleeve that I kind of wanted to hear. Okay,
snap.
John C. Reilly.
Johnson, buddy of Paul F. Tompkins. When I do John C. Reilly now, I only
It's
do.
like Dr. Steve Brule
I only
right
do Steve
here.
Brule. I used to do a more subdued, like actually pretty spot on John C. Reilly, and I just kind of I don't do it anymore.
That was pretty great.
Just go full
I
Brule.
want for your health. You like shrimp? I like shrimp. They're a bottom feeder, though. You don't want to make sure you take out their intestine on the back because they full of doo doo. Bad for you.
That's so good. So great. Oh man. Okay. You're not a performing monkey. I understand. I'm just getting really excited. Christopher Walken.
Wow, the thing about the zombie genre. I love it. It's crazy. They're dead. Essentially, there's people. They're real people in there. They've got thoughts. They've got feelings. They have to. What happens when you die? You just lose all your dreams. That's sad.
Matthew McConaughey. Is that just?
Classic.
Sure. All right, here we're talking about. Let's pontificate for a little bit. Here. Let's get real deep here on the zombie genre. If we're gonna do this thing, let's do it right. Let's go back to the origin of time.
Sure.
Let's talk about why we became obsessed with zombies in the first place. We were obsessed with our own mortality and what that means to think about your own death. Like,
Sure.
what does that mean?
Yeah.
To go around and around that time circle there.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I think Matthew's here. Matthew's
Yeah.
here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm actually like really interested in everything. I'm like, go on. Thanks for watching this Facebook Live. Thank you, Ross, for joining us and talking zombies. And we will see you guys next time we do a roundtable, which will probably be in 2 weeks. Bye. So, all right, let's actually talk about what I'm going to borrow.
Yeah.
I actually do want to borrow Dead Alive.